What's up guys, Lvladen here, and today I'm coming at you with a video about the play style. So we're going to go over rotation and macros of Ret Paladin in PvP. I did make a deep dive into the talents a couple weeks ago, but I'll flash my talents real quick and I'll explain to you the two different builds that I've been running recently. So on my alt Ret, which I'm on right now, I have my 4-piece set bonus, which I do think is going to be better than the 40+% versatility set that I have on my main. So next week I am going to switch over to the 4 set when I get that last catalyst charge. But basically I've gone the 4 set on the chest piece, shoulders, helm, and pants. And along with that, I'm running the embellishments on my war boots and my spore cloak right here. Outside of that, I'm prioritizing mastery over everything else. I'm probably going to get a versatility mastery crafted ring next week on my alt here, along with finishing up my last world PvP item on my wrists. I need the mastery wrists from the bloody coins. And then I'm essentially done with my my alt Ret. My alt Ret just happened to get better gear from the vendor. And I just got lucky on this guy versus my main who received his weapon in the first week of the season from the vault, and then I've got pretty much all useless pieces sent. So let's get into the builds really quick. So the two builds that I've really been running on Ret nowadays look either like this, where I run double improved judgment, double judgment here, along with Judge, Jury, Executioner, and Divine Resonance. Or alternatively, you can drop the Judge, Jury, Executioner, put a point in Executioner's Will, change Divine Resonance out, go Divine Purpose, and if you would prefer, you can change this to single Boundless Judgment here. And this is the setup that I would play if I was playing Divine Purpose. Else, if you want to play double Judgment, I do think it's still worth to pick up Judge, Jury, Executioner, and you can play it that way. I play both these builds quite frequently. And then I do rotate over to the Spellbot version, which basically just, I switch my build to 2 points in Holy Aegis, and I change out Luminescence for Blessing of Spellwarding. And there you go. That's the talents. Now, for the rotation, the Paladin Burst rotation is fairly simple in PvP. Basically, you want to get your Crusade online and at 10 stacks as fast as possible, and save Final Reckoning after you have 10 stacks of Crusade. That way you get the most value between the 10 stacks and the uptime on Final Reckoning. You can use Divine Toll and Wake of Ashes as generators to get your Crusade online earlier. But what I like to do is generate a little bit of Holy Power before I push my Crusade on my way over. So say the doors open in the arena. We go over here, we Judgment, we Blade of Justice, we Hodge to get our Inferior's War Boots procs, we Wings into a Final Verdict, spam out our charges of Hammer of Wrath, Final Verdict, Blade of Justice, Final Verdict, Wake of Ashes at 10 stacks, into a Final Reckoning, Final Verdict, Divine Toll, Final Verdict, and then we spam as many Hammer of Wraths as we can. Now keep in mind, your Hammer of Wraths are going to reset occasionally, based on your RNG with your Final Verdict. Like sometimes you're going to get a charge back instantly. But yeah, more or less it looks like that. Outside of the burst rotation, which you're just slamming your damage on, you want to focus on keeping your generators on cooldown while simultaneously not overcapping on Holy Power. Now that is sometimes unavoidable because you'll randomly get a Crusading Strike, you know, that you're not actually keeping track of, and it's going to overcap you on Holy Power. But just do your best to land as many Final Verdicts into the Judgment damage window as you can, while simultaneously, oh, I just fell off, while simultaneously not overcapping on your Holy Power. The next thing I'll go over for everyone here is macros. So I get a lot of questions asking why I have multiple spells, or like multiple of the same spells on my bars here. Now, some of it is just for visual, you know, my need to see the cooldowns a little bit better. And some of them, such as my blessings, are because I actually have multiple binds for those party spells. So, with Freedom, I have my Blessing of Freedom for either myself or mouseover target, and then I have Party Freedom 1 and Party Freedom 2. What these buttons do is, if you press, so my number 5 is P1 Freedom, If you press that, the leader of your party in your arena, if you're in 2s, it's always your other partner. And if you're in 3s, it's always the leader, will gain the Blessing of Freedom. Now, the way you determine the leader of your party is done through, right-clicking, making sure they have a lead. And that will be your Party 1 Freedom. Now, there are add-ons that can mess around with, who gets Party 1 and Party 2. And there are some that, you can help with your macros. But I don't do the name macro thing anymore. I just have kind of adapted to right-clicking and giving my healer lead, or asking my teammates in solo shuffle. Now, I'll briefly show what those macros look like, and then most of these macros I'm going to list in the description of the video. So feel free to copy them from there. It's essentially the copy-paste for all of my blessings. So Party 1, mouse over, Party 2. Party 1, mouse over, Party 2. It's funny, they're all like diagonal across. And this goes for Sanctuary as well. My burst macro is fairly simple. It just used like my Avenging Wrath, /cast Salt, Water, Potion, something like that. If you're human, you can add in your DPS trinket. So /cast, whatever, DPS trinket. You just put the name of the trinket right there. And then I have a cancel spell bop macro. Actually, I'm sorry, it's right here. Cancel Laura. So this cancels my Blessing of Protection and Blessing of Freedom. This makes it so mages cannot spell steal these if you, for example, are fighting RMP and you bop yourself out of a kidney shot and you don't want the mage to spell steal it. You can press this button, which for me is my middle mouse. That will drop the Blessing of Protection instantly. So there, we have bop on myself. I push the button and it's gone. Same with Freedom. I freedom myself. I push the button and it's gone. You can use that against mages. Pretty much against anything else, you're going to want to leave it up because you're going to force them to use globals to purge you. I also have Spellwarding macros here. Where is it? Right here. This is the same deal, though, for Spellwarding. I just essentially replace it with my Blessing of Protection. And the way I do that is by dragging and dropping the spells on my bar in another talent setup. Oh, because Blessing of Protection is on cooldown, I can't do that. But I'll leave the link to both my Spellbot build and my Final Reckoning build in the description. Let's see, any other macros here I use. So I have a focus macro for CC. Let me find it real quick. So right here, this is my Hammer of Justice macro. This basically lets me cast Hammer of Justice on my focus target. So say, for example, I drop my target and I hold shift with this macro, it's going to go on my focus target. And if I'm not holding shift, it's going to go on my primary target. Some people have asked how I got the Exorcism look for Blade of Justice. This is literally just a macro that does /cast Blade of Justice, /cast Start Attack, and I changed the icon to Exorcism. It doesn't actually do anything other than satisfy my need to see Exorcism on my bars. And then I have a macro that basically lets me hold shift and casts Divine Storm. And if I'm not holding shift, it's going to cast Final Verdict. I'll leave that in the description as well. And then I have a macro that changes my Shield of Vengeance icon to Sacred Shield. Again, totally not needed, but if anyone is interested, that is all these macros do. They're not gameplay changing macros here. We can use a targeting macro for Final Reckoning. It's right here. So what this does is it /uses @cursor Final Reckoning. That way, if you have Final Reckoning without this macro, it looks like you push it and then you get this green targeting circle. For me, I don't really like seeing the green targeting circle. Makes it so you have to push 2 buttons. You have to click 1 and then left click. I like just putting it where my mouse is. So this way, instantly cast Final Reckoning right on my cursor. If you're new to Ret Paladin, maybe the green circle is a little bit better so you can kind of see where your Final Reckoning is going to go to make sure you don't break CC. But if you played Ret for a long time and you kind of have a feel for where the Final Reckoning radius is, go ahead and just use the instant cast at cursor macro. Makes it a little more efficient. And yeah, there you go for the macros. That's about it, guys. So if anyone has further questions regarding the playstyle of Ret Paladin, please let me know in the description. I know a lot of people have asked for my add-ons, so I'm going to probably make a separate video on add-ons. I've kind of cut down on my add-ons lately. I don't use fly plate buffs anymore because it's just so bugged. You have to do a new manual update like every patch, and they're doing patches every like 8 weeks now. And then I also have stopped using sort group because sort group is just completely broken, which is why I've just gone the route of right-clicking healers and, you know, wherever they end up in the party frame, you know, just make them lead. And there you go. All right, I hope you all enjoyed. I'm sorry it took so long to get this second video out. I will be making one more guide video aside from the add-on videos about gear, going over the main difference between the high versatility set and the 4 set. But that will be after I completely gear my main ret. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.